My wife and I have been working our way through the back catalog of all the 80s movies we've never seen before. I don't know why we picked the 80s in particular. My theory is I was born in that decade, so something good probably had to come out of it. So far, the evidence is inconclusive. But the latest movie we watched was Roadhouse. And I don't even know what to say about this movie because it is two completely separate movies. Okay, you've got the starter movie. You got Patrick Swayze in there. He's pretty cut, but he's like 80s cut. So it's like he's fit, but he's also a human being and has probably eaten, some carbohydrates in his life. It's not like he spent the last 7 years with a Hollywood trainer taking steroids. It's like, I could look like Patrick Swayze someday. I could not look like Patrick Swayze someday, but like it's close enough. It looks human, so that's encouraging. I feel uplifted. I watch this, and he goes in there, and he's cool and calm. He lays out his rules for how he's going to bring order to the bar business. Now you take it outside, you de-escalate, you don't fight unless you have to. You're like, this is a cool cat. This man is a leader. I can get behind him. And then you get to the second half of the movie, and he murders everybody. Like, literally everybody. Like, if there's just somebody walking down the street, Patrick Swayze's gonna walk out there and murder him. Like, this changes from, like, cool guy at the bar brings order through nonviolence to, like, I don't even know, like Quick Hands Ninja Massacre? I hope they have a better title than that. I guess they do have a better title than that. The title is Roadhouse, which really is not a bad title for a movie. But it is a bad title for two movies. And the switch is subtle. So you go in there, Patrick Swayze's in there bringing order to this bar. He's sleeping in a barn because why wouldn't you? You're Patrick Swayze. Of course you're going to sleep in a barn. And then he looks across the lake and there's a guy with a helicopter. He's a mob boss with a helicopter. Do you know how much money you need to be helicopter rich? Like, even in the mafia, anywhere. I mean, helicopter rich is a whole nother level of evil rich. And I'm not saying all rich people are evil. I'm saying specifically if you're a mobster with a helicopter, you are evil. Like, that's like leader of all the drug cartels in Mexico rich. So this guy is exploiting one tiny little town. And it has made him so rich that he has a helicopter and an entourage of armed guards, and he's bribed all the elected officials so he can kill whoever he wants. He being the mob boss, not Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze has to earn his way to unlimited murders. Mob boss guy is already there. But like, what kind of town is he exploiting? This town has, let's go through the businesses in this town. It has a really bad bar that Patrick Swayze is fighting to turn around. It has an auto parts store that's directly across the street from that bar. It has a bunch of barren desert. Then it apparently has a hospital because we see the inside of it because Patrick Swayze ends up there all the time. And then out of nowhere, there's a car dealership. That's it. There's 4 businesses in this town. This guy's getting a cut and somehow he's helicopter rich. Like, the economics don't add up. And I know it was the 80s, trickle-down economics, maybe money worked differently back then, but I don't think it was so differently that evil Bob Boss Man would have a helicopter. And he goes around just killing indiscriminately with no fear. It's like, well, it's okay. I bribed the sheriff, so nobody's going to get me. At one point, there's a monster truck that's driving around for like half the movie. Like, why is there this monster truck there? What's the point? Well, the monster truck is in this movie because at some point they take it and they drive over all the cars at the car dealership and drive it through the car dealership building because the guy wouldn't pay his protection money. And then the other townsfolk are like, well, do you have insurance? It's okay. We're just not going to report this crime. Like, are you kidding me? You think the insurance agent is going to be like, okay, so tell me what happened. All your cars were crushed for no discernible reason, and now you want us to pay you a bunch of money? Yeah, sure, we're not going to investigate that. We'll totally take your word for it. All your cars are covered in giant monster truck tracks, and there's literally one vehicle in this entire 4-business town with monster tire trucks? I don't see a connection. And they start, like, they stab a guy in the chest and they leave him, like, in the middle of the bar. They don't even try to cover up the bodies because nobody's going to investigate this. So eventually, Patrick Swayze learns the rules. He's like, oh, you can just kill whoever you want. I get it. And he, like, rips the guy's throat out of nowhere. Like, up until then, it'd been, like, a kind of just, like, a typical slugger movie. Then, oh, he ripped the guy's throat out. Then he, like, takes the body and tries to float it across the pond to Helicopter Man. And then it just goes up from there. He goes into the mob boss's house and he murders everybody, literally everybody, except the fat guy who has a stuffed polar bear fall on top of him and is still okay. And then the mob boss guy himself is there. And I'm going to spoil the end of this movie. Like, I've already spoiled the whole movie. By the way, retroactive spoiler alert. If you did not want to know the plot of this movie, you should go back in time and stop watching this video like 4 minutes ago. Like, honestly, that's good advice for everybody. I'm sure everybody at this point wishes they'd go back in time and stop watching this video. So he goes in there and he has the final showdown and his girlfriend shows up. And Patrick Swayze's like, oh, I'm not going to murder this dude. Even though I just killed 9 people to get into this building, to get to this guy. And this guy is the most directly responsible. Well, now I'm a pacifist again. I'm not going to kill the mob boss guy. Then all the townsfolk, the business owners at least, materialize out of nowhere, and they all individually shoot him one at a time with shotguns. I'm not even kidding. They take turns. And like by the 15th shotgun blast, the guy dies. Then somebody calmly collects all the shotguns and walks out the door. And then the sheriff, for the first time in the movie, law enforcement shows up. The sheriff, who I guess is no longer being bribed because the mob boss is dead. And he's like, what happened here? And the townsfolk are all like, well, I didn't see anything. Did you see anything? No, I didn't see anything. These are exact quotes from the movie. And so at that point, the implication is that this investigation just stops dead. That if nobody will testify, nobody being all of the murderers in the room, if none of them will testify, then the law is powerless to stop them. And they can all walk out of there without explaining why the 6 of them are in a room with a dude who just died from 6 shotgun blasts. Like this, it all adds up. And again, I just keep going back to that movie at the start. When Patrick Swayze was so cool, I wanted to see the end of that movie. I wanted to see where it went. And at some point, they switched to this other, crazy murder fest. And that's where we are. And this movie's a classic now. And I don't know if it's a classic just because Patrick Swayze's pretty awesome, or if it's a classic because this is how you conducted business in the 80s. You were cool and calm and collected, but also on a moment's notice, you needed to be able to kill 6 to 9 men with your bare hands. Like, this was just what an 80s man had to do. Talk about social pressure. Like, we talk about how hard things are for the ladies, but come on, when is the last time a female lead in a movie had to kill 9 people with their bare hands? And right now, you've probably thought of like 15 different movies where that's the case. Well, you know what? I haven't gotten to those movies yet. I'm way behind. I'm still in the 80s. That seems like more of a 2000s thing. If there's a lady murder movie, I'll get there. I promise. In the meantime, if you want to watch Roadhouse, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. You're going to watch the first 45 minutes. You're going to hit stop. And then you're going to watch the first 45 minutes again. And that will be the ideal movie experience. And we're just going to pretend the last 45 minutes didn't happen. But you already know what happened, so I guess it's too late. I'm sorry I ruined that movie. I'm sorry I probably ruined your life. If you would like to watch me ruin other movies for you and get ridiculously worked up about things that people have known for literally decades, I am always the last person to see anything. Please hit that subscribe button because I'm not going to stop. I'm just getting wound up. There are so many other 80s movies I am seeing for the first time and my eyes are being opened. And now every time I go outside, I'm going to cover my throat to make sure some random dude doesn't just punch it and tear it out. Because that would stop these YouTube videos and that would be tragic. All right. Catch you next time.